Hi everyone! Welcome to another set of Science Notes. Today we're going to be talking about stars. So your title will be Stars, that should be up at the top of the page, and right below that you should have the essential question, which is what are the characteristics of stars? The rest of your page should be divided into two columns for Cornell Notes. Smaller column, as usual, is for key points, questions, vocabulary, things like that. Your larger column is for your notes. At the end, you do need a summary, and since they are being graded, please make sure that you do have everything there. We talked, when we did our first set of notes for this unit, so the universe notes, we talked a little bit about what stars are. And basically, they are giant balls of gas, mostly helium and hydrogen, and they undergo nuclear fusion to give off light and energy. So let's talk a little bit about how stars are classified. So stars are classified by many characteristics, things like their size, their color, their temperature, their composition, so what they're made out of, their brightness. So there's a lot of things that go into classifying stars. So let's talk about some of these characteristics. The first things, color and temperature. These two are actually related. The colder a star is, the more red it's going to be. The hotter the star is, the more blue it's going to be. So the coldest stars are red, that is the coldest color. And, when we say cold, we're, relatively speaking, it's still over 3,000 degrees Celsius, so still extremely, extremely hot. And the hottest stars are going to be blue, which is going to be over 20,000 degrees Celsius. So if you can see the diagram below, red is the coldest. After that, you've got orange, you've got yellow, then white, and then blue. Blue is, again, the hottest. Other characteristics. Size. Stars are huge. They are bigger than planets. Now, the sun, our sun in our solar system, is an average-sized star. We have ones that are much larger, called giants and supergiants. And you can see in the pictures off to the side how large giants and supergiants are compared to our sun. We also have stars that are smaller than the sun. Most of them actually are a bit smaller than the sun. And we do have white dwarfs, which are actually about Earth's size. And then we also have another type of star called a neutron star, which is very, very small. Extremely small. So even smaller than the Earth. So that's just a little bit of information about size. Another characteristic we use to classify would be chemical composition, so what chemicals they're made out of. Most stars are largely hydrogen and helium. So around 73% hydrogen, around 25% helium, and then that last 2% is other elements. And different stars might have different compositions. And we use something called a spectrograph to determine what elements there are in those stars. And let me wait for the bell to stop. What a spectrograph does is basically it takes a picture of the star and it takes that light that's given off and it breaks it down into different colors. And off to the side you can see what we call an emission line spectra. And basically, this is what a spectrograph does. It breaks down the different lights, different colors that are there. And each element has a different spectra. It has a different set of colors that it gives off. So scientists can use that to figure out what sort of elements are in particular stars. All right, brightness. Now, when we look up into the night sky, we see stars, and we are able to see them because they're bright. They're very far away, so they have to be bright for us to be able to see. Now, when we talk about brightness, we also call it magnitude. And we have two different types that we refer to. We have apparent magnitude and absolute magnitude. Apparent is how bright it appears to be. Now, stars that are closer to us will typically appear to be brighter than ones that are further away, even though they might actually not be brighter. They just appear to be. So apparent brightness is how it appears to be to us, and it depends on distance. Absolute magnitude, which is also called luminosity, is how bright that star actually is. So you can see in the diagram at the bottom of the screen, it's showing what some of the constellations look like. And in that first circle, you can see those stars look like very small dots. So those stars appear to be not very bright. So they don't appear very bright. That's the apparent magnitude. But if you actually look at the individual stars and you look at them through things like telescopes, and if you completely disregard Earth's distance from those stars, they're actually not that dim. Their absolute brightness, their luminosity, is actually much greater than what it appears to be. And the diagram on the side also shows that very well. Now, this is something we'll be working with a bit over the next few days. The HR diagram, or the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram. What this is basically just a fancy graph. And it's a graph that scientists use. And the way it works is it graphs the surface temperature of the stars along with their luminosity, so their absolute brightness. And what happens is you actually see a pattern occur. So the different types of stars fall into different spots on the graph, on the HR diagram. And you can see, going through the middle, you've got the main sequence stars. And we'll talk more about what main sequence means a little bit later. But you can also see the supergiants way up at the top, and the giants below that. And down at the bottom, you've got the white dwarfs. So you can get an idea of how different stars, how different types relate to each other in terms of their luminosity and their temperatures. And that is actually it. You don't have a lot of notes today. So go ahead and do your summary and make sure you've got everything done.